Hello everyone, welcome back. It seems that I'd seen people tweeting about it, but it seems that it's still the case that the run ad button is broken. I tried going in from the editor with my account and even being logged into BaseTradeTV account, and both options didn't work. So, oh well. I didn't want to make money anyways. In the bottom left, in this brand new best of 3, it is the red Zerg Armani. Oh, I rhymed. I don't usually do that. The top right is the blue Protoss. We just saw him win against Alive. It is root herO. I mean, to be honest, Alive probably should have been here, or here should have been here, or something like that, right? As Alive versus herO really was like even a finals a lot of the time, but it is what it is, and sometimes you just get that unlucky bracket, and it was a hard-fought battle for both of them. herO has been getting knocked out, actually, once or twice, I want to say, in the last 2 weeks from the Korean tournaments. Very early on, so I guess it's about time that he, you know, actually survived. A little tit for tat, I suppose. My voice is getting a little scratchy, so I'm not just feeling so hot. My stomach's feeling a little bit weird, and casting from my stomach is feeling really weird too. So that's a lot of interesting feelings going on right now. But I must stick through it. I tried to get Bit Boss too while this all happened, but I really just can't find the same Bit Boss. Oh well. Zealot actually on the way, that's interesting. herO did, of course, expand pretty quickly out here. It's prepared his wall accordingly. No scout with a probe, so I guess that's why Bali building a Zealot being a little bit afraid. Usually that Zealot really not too useful. Even if you send it across the map, well, it is kind of fearsome in that regard. Like, you don't catch it in time, gets on a mineral line, really annoying. It's not, you know, the usual anymore. Stargate's on the way. This Overlord sees everything at the front, which is pretty important. Armani knows exactly what's going on, and he is going for a Baneling bust off of 2 bases. If herO had scouted, he probably would have only seen the third, quote-unquote, position, right? Assume that that was the natural, but he assumed the third goes back here. But that's, you know, that's one of the little fun things about in-base expansion maps, is that you can kind of fake that out, but that really wasn't necessary as herO had so little scouting anyways. So either way, there's 2 reasons why Armani would have loved to go for the Baneling bust. That Zealot is going to help hold a little bit more, otherwise I guess it would be completely open, but the point is a Baneling bust will very quickly take care of this, and even if that Zealot was replaced with like a gateway, there is still another hole in the wall, I suppose you would say. Weak point in the wall, there you go, which is that pylon. 6 Banelings rolling forward here. They might want to wait. Okay, never mind, it'll be fine. Alright, that was so like the reason I said you might want to wait, just because like if he did put up gateway behind that Zealot, then there would have been too few to break the wall. And maybe the other 2 die on the way over, but it worked out, so whatever. Lings are in the main base. Phoenix really can't help out that much. The pylon is built once again. That's only 2 Banelings, so it's barely holding, good god. Oracle on the way is going to be a much more helpful tool to help defend against this. And while 4 probes did go down, the rest are just damaged. So that I would consider a pretty good hold, especially since herO had already invested into a Nexus, which is almost done. Armani, of course, still no 3rd base, only trying to get some drones right now, cut so early on. And that was not very successful. I would say most things were lining up okay for Armani. You know, only a single Zealot, not even like another Adept on the way. Phoenix first as well. That all seems like a golden opportunity to let a Baneling bust in, but, I don't know, I really wish he had just waited a little bit more. But I guess he was worried the Phoenix would scout it, because he saw it pop out. I don't know. I wonder if he had waited, it would have been better. Well, now, Armani's in a lot of trouble. Trying to do a cheese doesn't work. There's not a lot of follow-up, especially in this case, where, again, herO even held with a 3rd base, having taken up all of his minerals. So now he just needs to get his tech going. His economy obviously is going to be fine, but now he gets tech going. This really is kind of a desperate scenario. I would say maybe in another, you know, like a ladder game or something, or a longer series, Armani's already tapped out. Like, okay, that didn't work. That didn't work hard. But actually tries a follow-up attack and does take out the pylons. In fact, depowers a gateway and a stargate, gets 2 sentries that were warped in a little bit too late. So those weak probes from earlier might just be going down here, but he's got to get like 20 of them to make it, you know, worth again. And yeah, 20 and maybe even a little bit more, because again, those 3 bases are already up and running. 3 is not 20. 4 is not 20 either, so this isn't looking too hot. Baneling's doing a morphing though. No, herO didn't actually see this. Pulls though is going to be able to split, and any amount of splitting would be very helpful, because again, there just isn't enough damage done, and that is not only 5 probes killed. That is Armani's army just used up. It was the only army he was going to have for a while, because of course he needs the drone so hard to make up for earlier. And even after all that drone, he's still only left at 45. Knows that he's going to have to deal with an attack sooner or later. Does make 16 more lings. But unfortunately, they can't really do anything. You know, it's Proxima Station. If this had been a third base out in like a vulnerable third, like maybe on Cactus Valley, 16 lings could constantly be ducking in and out and buying time, but herO, aside from that little, you know, run by at the front, it really shouldn't happen. So a lot of gateways, a War Prism, Resident Glaive, just going for the Adept all in. Might seem a little funny because I guess he knows, of course, there's Ling Baneling, but the thing is, numbers are gonna win out. And even if it wasn't that case, Ling Baneling can be split against and still work, not work rather, against Adept all-ins. But in this case, it's just gonna be pure numbers anyways. Oroka's gonna do a little bit of preemptive scouting. Probably, you know, throw a Revelation down just to see where the army is or how much of an army's popping out. Phoenix is looking for freebie overlords as well, or even a queen that's left, I guess, out of position. Gonna cast Revelation on the queens, but that's probably gonna be almost as good as getting the army. I mean, right now they kind of are the army. A lot of Banelings on the map, but back at home, that's it. And he'll see just a handful of lings, you know, constantly running by. It's really not that scary. Even if the Banelings collapse in on this, as there's no force fields, again, killing only a single mineral line probably wouldn't be enough. Banelings are morphing defensively, and herO does have himself a little stacked up. Okay, he's starting to split already. Probes did go down. Whoopsie-daisy. That's funny. I mean, there's so many depths. You see on the minimap, but it's like... the Banelings killed all the probes by entirely bypassing the army that was at the front, so... That's not what I expected. But that's what happened, so... still wasn't enough damage. Yeah, that's what happened. I controlled Day 9's channel. That's what was happening. Now, Day 9 gave me some bits when I was playing Brood War like last week. So for some reason, even though I said authorize on Twitch, in the browser that I'm connected to BaseTradeTV in, it still only had my channel in mind. But only if I used the widget, the browser source. If I just popped it open, it was fine. So I understand that logic, but whatever. We are in a game number 2, and in the bottom right, down 1, it is the Red Zerg Armani. In the bottom left is the Blue Protoss. He is Root herO. Now whoever donates bits should be killing the boss. Montian should actually be the boss with 1,000 health, I suppose, but I was too late. Still appreciate it though. Window capture, so professional. I try really hard. I try so hard. Can I make this transparent? Okay, well... I don't think it's gonna work. Yeah, whatever. It's good enough. Trying to change the settings, but I think it's just gonna affect the browser source only, not the actual capture. Whatever. Armani did an unsuccessful Baneling bust last game, so... them's the breaks, right? It was pretty easy for herO, though. Like, surprisingly easy for him to deal with it. But herO went for a Nexus first, I think, last game as well. Or at least it was a Gateway Nexus. This game going for double Gateway at the front, then a Nexus. That's going to be a bit of damage, potentially, for Armani. If nothing else, Armani has to make Lings in time. And, of course, speed will not be done. So there's a chance that the Adepts get even a lot of damage done. If they get 4 drones and kill the Lings that appear, that's some pretty good damage. I'm ignoring Fear Dragon in chat. Otherwise, I might ban him. There the Adepts run across the map. One more being made at home. I mean, I guess she could also shit across the map if it was really going very well, but I don't think Protoss ever really expect this to be like something that they continue on immediately with. But really just the goal of maybe getting into the mineral line and getting drones pulled or, you know, a couple killed. So, I guess he's still having trouble. I'm bringing up mice. And that's about the extent of it. Well, there's no way I'm going to be translating all of that. Hopefully they unpause soon. Twilight Council versus Evolution Chamber pretty early on. Armani is still getting a 3rd base, but Evolution Chamber might just be for these Overlords. At least one seems to be worthwhile, even if your real intention is just to get that quick upgrade.
Game resumed.
Right, the Adepts trying to shade in. So they kind of tricked the Lings, and they were slow Lings, so, you know, they're the tiniest little bit out of position. They would have been too far gone. It bothers to save the Adepts, though. Like, I mean, it could have committed more and probably done a bit more damage to the Ling count, but that Queen was firing away and really no hope to kill her. So, still gonna try and get something down, or at least scouting. See, no drones have died. Only a handful of Lings, so... I mean, not entirely worth yet for the delay on the Nexus, but... Following up with the Dark Shrine, a Robo, the Overlord's gonna be able to see that no problem. I don't believe herO saw the Evolution Chamber. No, he did not. Oh, I think you bacon herO. 999 bits. Kills the boss, and is the new bit boss. Thanks for casting, ZG. You're welcome. It's so warm. There is that Overlord drop I was talking about, and that actually seems to be what he was getting the Evolution Chamber for specifically. I would say usually you see the upgrade also going along, either +1 melee or +1 carapace, but I'm gonna hold off on that for now. Just gonna try and be a little bit cheeky with the drop, and just a single drop really isn't supposed to do too much damage, especially, you know, as it is a little bit later into the game. But it just was hardcore denied. And, well, the good news is for Armani that without a Stargate opener, that Overlord will be there for a very long time, in fact, and might be able to do damage later on. Roach Warren's on the way, Lair about halfway done, so he does need Spore Crawlers. Warp Prism's already picking up 2 DTs. That seems to be the way that the DT drop has refined itself from its inception, I suppose, where it was always 4 DTs warped into Archons. You see a lot more either double Warp Prisms, which I think is really cool, or you see 2 DTs into Archon and then 2 more DTs in Archon. Like, very, like, small stuff, but can make a big difference. Is going to bother, of course, with the DTs first, see if he can get something done. If this was 4 DTs, I think you actually take on this very, very small army, but with only 2, decides not to really risk it. In fact, probably risked it a little bit too much. That Warp Prism took quite a lot of damage. I knew there was a Spore Crawler there, so I don't know. Saves him, however, and will be morphing him in Archons later on. He's going to follow up with very quick charge and a lot of gateways here. So there might just be a follow-up all lane that Armani is not prepared for. Armani went for a Roach Warren, and while he does have speed, he seems to really actually be going into Roaches with +1 missile attack. And I would say that that's, it's not like it's the wrong decision, but he might have also wanted banelings, of course, to deal with charge lots if he knew this was the follow-up, but you're not actually sure. The Overload's getting in here now, or the Overseer, rather, and is seeing, of course, Twilight Console being chronoed. Not that you can tell what is chronoed in it, but more importantly, he saw that there still wasn't a third base. So this is not a typical follow-up. He saw the other gateways here as well, and it's just a, a matter of actually seeing the warp-ins, I would say. If he saw that there was a bunch of Stalkers warped in, that tells you what up. There's a bunch of Charge Lots warped in, that tells you what up. I think Charge Archon follow-up is going to be the most common, however, so he's probably trying to prep for that. Charge isn't quite done, and there only are 2 Archons. There is an Immortal. There we go. That looks a lot better, in fact, already with that Immortal. It's going to help out a lot versus Armani's Roach army. Only a couple of Ravagers and one already goes down. All they required was like one... Oh, just kidding. Okay, well, one Corrosive Bile, that Warp is going to die, but the Queen Target Fire wasn't so bad at all. Immortal's still going to town, but those Zealots have all died, so it's finally being focus fired, but only after taking out so many Roaches. I want to see how many got killed. But while that was being focused down, the Archons got a couple of blasts as well. They're going to try and retreat now, and was that enough damage? I mean, army for army. herO, though, no third base. Armani, not exactly rolling in the money either. I don't know. It really sucks, though, because if that War Prism had been alive, and it would have lived had he not taken damage earlier on it, that's pickup micro on the Immortal and Archons. And that, plus the charge out Warp-ins, I'm pretty sure would have killed Armani. Now herO has to defend first. I think he's okay in the defense, though. I really do. I think, like, 4 Archons with the Warp Prism micro is pretty flippin' scary, actually. And of course, any amount of charge warp-ins. 4 DTs not turn into Archons, however. It's a lot of minerals and gas, but it's going for that third base. Rocks are broken down, so that's not going to be too soon, but it's coming. More importantly, the attack at the front. More DTs being warped in, turning into Archons. There are a lot of Roaches and Ravagers here, but if these Archons get any splash on them, yeah, they're actually losing a lot of health very, very quickly. Overseers could even be targeted by these Archons. There comes the War Prism for the micro, but the Square Collar is removed to the front. Was the Square Collar the third move? It was. Oof. You don't usually expect DTs after the first ones are morphed into Archons, but Overseer just a tiny bit late to the party. 1 DT goes down, the Corrosive Bile, but still successful in killing that third base, and that's going to go a long way into herO being able to bring back his economy in the long term. I mean, they're both mining out of minerals on the main base, but it is herO that probably still has the stronger army if everything goes correctly. I mean, he still has Archons and a War Prism. He's getting Immortals now, warped in a couple of sentries to help force field and keep those very important units alive. Armani has numbers, for sure. 74 army supply to 47, but especially as herO is very hesitant to take his third base, that's, you're not going to break a 2-base Protoss for some time. Now, as he takes his third base, however, that might be instantly canceled. There's got to be a Militia Corps with an overcharge, I think, to really solidify this third against the army supply lead. As is, it's going to be a little bit tough. A little bit tough. Guardian Shield is popped. Accidentally runs with the Corrosive Biles. A couple of force fields go down, but I don't think that was good enough. He was trying to get them on the ramp, and that would have been really, really perfect, but no. Yeah, Sentry's going to go down here. He's got to choose what to micro. The Immortal's not being microed, but there's just so many Roaches left over. I think herO would have been better off just holding off on that third base, holding off on defending the third base. Immortals are still safe. They want a big charge lot warp in. Might make me eat my words. Those Immortals are so low. The barrier's gone. That one dies, in fact. This one's still alive, trying its best. Other Immortal goes down. Another one's trying to be on its way. But that's one Immortal against the world, and herO is running out of those huge charge lot warp-ins. Third base is canceled just so we can get the minerals, I think. Did he realize it's over? Oh, no, there are Overseers, never mind. Yeah, those are just charge out warp-ins. I mean, they're getting instant connects, so they're being pretty brutal. But that one Immortal is just, oh my god, how is it not dead? Oh, that should have been dead so long ago. This should have been easy peasy for Armani, but in the same way that those DTs taken out, his third base was so important. Armani did force herO to hold off on his third, and he killed so many important units. Or again, Roaches and Ravagers a little bit easier to make. There's going to be some more Prism Micro against those that last Ravager, blah. Unfortunately. Still unable to get it. There we go. The unloads kept focus firing the Roaches. Anyways, third base, mining now. Still roughly the same, you know, probe and drone count as they were before, as none really died, just the base. But our herO is going to be trying to get to Templar Archives. I guess he is banking a lot of gas, so he needs that more of a balance. Dark Templars are actually like 125 minerals, I think. So they're maybe even more. Maybe 125 gas. But the point is, DTs are more mineral intensive, whereas High Templars are like 50. So that's that will be a lot more Archons. That's definitely the right move to make. Okay. That's a very large army again, about 30 army supply up. That's where herO is having a lot of trouble. It's just in the real army engagements. I mean, I guess I didn't really mention the +1 at missile attack either, as that is something that Armani has had over herO for some time, and now getting Burrow can actually heal up his army too pretty quickly, as well as just have micro. I thought herO had an observer, but I guess maybe it died. Okay, so he's also going to be able to micro out of herO's army, so that's pretty important too. It just doesn't look like enough of an army, you know? Like, Archons are scary, Immortals are scary, but they're going to go down pretty quickly, and that is it. Armani takes game number 2. I feel like that game really showed how much things can add up. That War Prism taking so much damage early on for really no reason. The CTs didn't really get a lot done for it. That would have been the difference of it surviving and probably winning with the Charged Archon all in. And that would have been quite impressive, as there wasn't really a surprise factor for that all in either. Yet Armani still almost didn't have enough units. Got no Overseer, seeing the gateways, seeing the chrono. It's usually a charge lot Archon follow-up. And yet he still almost got overrun. Thank you to people who donated the bits. Looks like Leoman and a couple of people actually. GV Loxer, 100 bits. Montian, 100 bits. And Leoman, 100 bits. All chipping away. Yeah. I couldn't get any of the options for Bit Boss to work. You know, like progressive or boss healing or anything like that. So it is the basics. Innovation versus Bunny is happening in the semifinals already. Bunny having defeated his former teammate Hush. Billowy, of course, advanced a long time ago in the bracket and is waiting on the winner of Classic and Keen. And then the winner of this will go on to face Gumiho in the round of 8. And that catches you all up on the bracket. It is game number 3 on Abyssal Reef in the bottom right. As the blue Protoss, he is herO. And top left, as the red Zerg, it's Armani. What are these clips being? Please, for the love of God, some of these are just so gross. You should just really die. Really, really, really. Thank you to Kynix okay, whatever. For the 2-month resub. I don't know how. I'm never gonna remember how to say that one. Shit. Taking here with another 100 bits. I refuse to let Kim Jong-un Jr. die. He's his own name, you know. Alright. I know a lot of people actually subbed or resubbed while we were away, in which case, if you're around, I'd like to thank you. Even if I can't thank you specifically. They also had a decent number of subs and resubs while we were casting DreamHack, and that was pretty cool to see as well, including a couple of those higher tier subs. If this appeals to you at all, if you do tier 3 sub, you can bypass the banned filter of Avillo and Vampire, so I don't know. Maybe that's worth it. More bits coming in here, Leoman and Juvia Loxer. And then Leoman again. It's gonna be a lot of dollars. Dollars. Rifkin is sick. I guess it's been an hour, almost 2, since I explained why I'm solo casting. He was getting sick over DreamHack, so he messaged me this morning saying that he couldn't do it. That's fine. Everyone's a little tired after DreamHack, of course. I really shouldn't have a very bad travel day after Austin at all, since it's really not that far away. But I was on standby and there was layovers, so it kind of sucked. It was like a 9-hour travel thing overall. But that's what you get when you take standby, I guess. At least it was free. Anyways, Twilight Council on the way. Nexus finishing up here. Armani not going for an Evolution Chamber quite yet. I mean, last game, that dropped really didn't do anything at all. But that +1 missile attack probably helped him in 1 or 2 cases. I do think that numbers really won out a lot more than the +1. To be honest, even though upgrades are very important. But it was something that was just like, it was really the nail in the coffin or something like that. It really made Roach Ravager army doesn't actually sound that impressive unless it has numbers, or unless it actually has a better upgrade than the Protoss, which I would say is not... I mean, I guess it happens, but it's that herO didn't bother getting any upgrades at all, as he was trying to all in. So Armani got a bit of a freebie lead in that department. Overlord speed is on the way, however. It's pretty quick. He got decent scouting without having to sacrifice an Overlord last game, I believe, as herO just put everything on the front line anyway. And on Newkirk, the Overlord is seriously just like right there. The Overlord could dip in again here, but I was wondering if this was actually for a more dedicated Ling drop attack. Now they can get 2 of them turning into drop Overlords as well as an attack at the front base. It can be kind of scary. Third base is on the way, just about done as well. We'll see what the next round of Larva goes into. herO is going to go for Twilight Council Adept attack into Double Stargate. Double Stargate started pretty early on in the whole process of it, though, and the Overlords easily see that. I mean, those started even before the gateway was finished. Okay, rather. And you get a Max X Diffie. Oh, there's only 1 X in there. Max Diffie for the 28-month resub. There's a lot of Overlords being sent around the map, and there is finally one of them turning into a drop Overlord. And I was gonna say, like, it seemed really suspicious to get just the combination of things, right? Like Overlord speed right into an Evolution Chamber and not go for something with it. But it looks like it's not just gonna be for an attack here, but actually also for the defense, right? As Adepts would run across the map and you had to have something to help deal with that. A 10 health nerf can sometimes really... Uh-oh. Oh god. I inhaled wrong. Oh god. That was the wrong one. Oh god. Okay, seems like it's over. What was I saying? Oh, the 10 health Adept nerf can sometimes be really apparent when those Lings get surrounds on the Adepts like that. So, I think 5 drones went down in total. But since Armani was already dedicating to an attack, it looks much worse. 35 drones of 44. Phoenixes see the Overlords picking up units and knows that a big attack is already on the way. It's actually going to, funnily enough, meet the attack about mid, or not even midway, like just as it happens. And that is a bold move. herO, I mean, I guess he could have continued buying time by sending the Adepts in like that, but I think it was a wiser choice to kind of still buy time, actually. Like, I might have still responded to it, but run back home with what he has. Phoenix has got free reign of the mineral lines, so 7 more drones go down, leaving Armani at 26. That's not going to be a lot of reinforcements. herO holds off on the 3rd base, but already has pylons there in case he wanted to try and hold it. If he gives it up, I think that's totally fine. I mean, he knows how much damage has been done. He knows that there's no drones at 3rd base. Phoenix have been flying over that a lot of this game. Yeah, he knows that he can give that up, so it might have been possible to hold on to that. But 2 pylons ain't that bad. More Phoenixes being produced. I mean, herO on 2 bases doesn't have like a a lot of economy, but it's pretty consistent. So 3 gateways, 2 Phoenixes at a time seems just about right. Militia Corps does go down to all the queens, so the queens are going to go down to all the Phoenixes, and the adepts don't even really die over here. They're going to be able to easily clean up all the Ravagers, and if this doesn't work for Armani, it is just game, 3rd base or not for herO. GG. herO does close out the series 2-1. I need to get a drink. So let's get sent a herO to face Gumiho. Another pretty classic matchup, really. Gumiho and Alive being the most consistent Terrans probably ever in the Olimoleague, and then herO getting to be a very consistent Protoss player in the Olimoleague in the last, 6 months. They've played a lot against each other, and then there's also the big leagues where they've been playing a lot too. Alive already fell to herO early on. I think Gumiho has a better style against herO though, so it might be the same thing. It might be a 2-1. Alive really did put up a good fight. But Gumiho might just be able to win the series and go into the semifinals. So that's definitely going to be getting into next, unless there's some big reason not to. But I'm going to take a break. No ads, because ad bet isn't working, but I still take a break. Thanks to everyone who's donating bits. And, yeah. Be back as soon as the lobby's ready.